even last that long after that. Okay, so we're officially broadcasting, etc. Hopefully everything is still set up properly as to last semester.
Are you expecting more people to show up?
I would hope that like Jessica or Quinn will be here, just for the sake of having Coffee Kid represented. But if not, we'll deal with whatever without.
Right.
So welcome back.
Hi.
Yay! Spring semester. Yay! All fun and joy and stuff, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're back, and we're gonna be kind of just discussing scheduling and what's happening this semester, and that sort of stuff for today. That's all I've got scheduled, basically. We'll discuss towards the end the tutorial kind of stuff that I talked about on the Facebook group. Hopefully, somebody has suggestions. If not, we'll brainstorm as a group. Yeah. So I guess we'll just go through kind of a list of what I've got for the semester. First and foremost is next week, the Way Forward. We're heading over them.
Cool.
In case anybody forgot, which I guess you did.
I knew it was coming up, I didn't know it was next week.
Yeah, so that is next week. The 22nd is the date. Cool. And we're all heading over that way. I will need a list. Rika wants a list of people who are intending to go. So if you're planning on going, I just need to, I think it's just write your name down.
That's a week from today.
That's a Wednesday, right?
It's Thursday, so it's a week from today. As far as I know, it's just going to be just during the same time slot as we do this.
Okay.
I'll figure out the exact schedule, maybe
Would
some of it.
probably make the most sense.
Yeah, like, let's see, where did she want? Full names of everyone visiting next week. That's all she's asking for. So, yeah, we'll. She's not coming today, she said. So we'll sign the NDAs whenever we're over that way. Whenever we walk into them.
Wasn't here last semester. Can you tell me what that is about?
Oh, okay. So last semester, Rika Indo is working for Way Forward, and she offered to like bring them in and to get them kind of involved with what we're doing. So they're actually in our Slack, in our well, not our Slack, in our Trello pages, our Trello boards. So let's see, where would I find them? General, I think. Yeah, they're somewhere in this pile. I think they've changed.
Has anybody played their games yet?
Changed their things.
No.
Derek's.
No, I've
What?
never played it.
Did you play any Way Forward?
I've never
games?
played it.
Oh, Way Forward games. I got Shantae Pirates, something or other. Pirates
Oh, yeah.
Revenge. Risky's Revenge. Risky's Revenge is the one that I got. And it was kind of not good. But that's kind of the general consensus on that one, is that it's kind of not good.
Retarded, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, hey,
I
I'm
really
just being
like
honest.
the one after that.
Hey, just being honest, it just was not my thing. And honestly, a lot of it was just the writing. The writing is just not what I enjoy. So it could have been just that. The gameplay was fine. It seemed fine. It seemed like a decent platformer and such, but yeah, the writing just rubbed me the wrong way. But anyway, so we have. So I think they've changed their icons or whatever, but I don't see them anywhere on here. But we have two of their employees from Way Forward. They're head of animation and head of something or other. I forget what the other guy's position was. But they're in our Trello, and they're available for us to ask questions to kind of like get critiques from or whatever. And they've been here twice as well. So they came out to check out our first two games and came out again later to check out our second two games and see kind of what we've been doing, how things have been progressing, and give us their thoughts and that sort of stuff on those two projects. So since we've been working so closely with them, they invited us to go actually to their facility, to their workplace, and kind of check out what they do, kind of like they did for us. So we'll get a tour next week of their whole offices and see how they work, that sort of stuff. I don't know if they're going to be showing us anything specific. I don't know the game plan. I'm just going to show up and hope it's cool.
They do make games there. So.
And they do make games there, yeah. So it'll be interesting. And it's especially interesting because I believe that was Way Forward who came in and were like, yeah, we need to get a projector like this.
Yeah.
So they apparently liked our setup, which is kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, like I said, we'll be going to them next week. I need names, just full names, everybody, just who wants to come up. I'll probably post in the Facebook group too, just since some people aren't here and that sort of thing,
So when we go there, will we be back in time for 7 o'clock classes?
Yeah, because I've got a 7 o'clock class, and I want to get food at some point as well. So we'll make sure that, like I said, I don't know if we're going to be planning on going at 4, or maybe they want us before 4. We'll discuss the logistics in terms of the exact time that's happening, as things happen. But I figure chances are it's just going to be, we go over there for 4 o'clock. We walk in, they kind of give us a brief tour of their offices and talk to us about how they work and that sort of thing, and then we head out within an hour or two. So I can't imagine it being anything particularly like they're going to want to go home too after 5, I'm sure.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, I don't know exactly, but
Who invited us?
all of them. It was kind of the conglomerate pile. Whenever Valdi was here, they had kind of just as a group. I don't remember specifically who suggested that.
Probably Voldy.
Maybe. I know Valdi was talking about like potentially having a spot kind of set aside for people like us to, what do you call it, the incubation tank or whatever, that sort of thing. So I know he was specifically talking about that. I don't know if that segued into us being invited over there to check out the place, or if somebody else mentioned. The meeting is, I don't know if the meeting is online or not. I'm behind on a few of the uploads for the meetings. I have the file for the meeting regardless of whether it's online or not. So yeah, we could find out, but I don't feel like trudging through all of that just to see who invited us specifically. More than welcome to do something for that. Yeah. So, like I said, I'll get names, and we'll figure out exactly who's going, and we'll figure out rides as well. I assume we have a decent amount of cars to drive us there. Anybody with a vehicle want to raise their hand or something, maybe? So I've got. Okay.
Everyone
So-
doesn't or doesn't?
Does. Yeah, does have some kind. So I know Jessica has one, Quinn as well. So hopefully, among us, we'll figure out rides. That shouldn't be an issue. I don't imagine everybody's going to be going anyway. So yeah, we'll figure that out. So that we'll need to write down names and stuff. But aside from that, that's it. The week after that, we have a guest speaker available to us, Akash Thakar. He is the sound designer on Hyperlight Drifter. Let me go ahead and bring that up just for the sake of having that something to show. No. There we go. So I don't have audio on this, so the recording stream will have the audio, but we won't. Hyperlight Drifter, really, really freaking pretty game. So I've got the video up. If everyone's
But the phone is all the way down, so
Oh, is that all the way down? Well, I mean, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. They'll just hear us talking instead. So this is Hyperlight Drifter. Ironically, we're listening to this without sound when the sound designer is the person coming to talk to us. I try for the maximum amount of irony when I do my meetings here. But yeah, really pretty pixel art game, kind of, as you can see, like Zelda-styled sort of situation. Just really nice looking, really huge indie buzz in terms of the whole indie game scene. This is going crazy among people who are following indie stuff, because it's really cool looking. So yeah, the sound designer on this is going to come talk to us, or going to be online, whatever, for us. I'll have to figure out exactly the program we're going to be using to talk to him. It's probably just going to be like a Google Talk, Google.
Wait, is this the week after next week?
28th. He said that he's going to he'll be available around the time that we usually have our meetings. He didn't say specifics of exact time, like if it's going to be right at 4 or if it's going to be at 5. Maybe he gets off of work at 5 or something like that. But yeah, it'll be the 28th. He'll be discussing just kind of his techniques. I told him that we all have at least some knowledge of sound design, seeing as we've all of character animation has classes and you sound design people, obviously. So hopefully it won't be anything too remedial, but hopefully it'll be like actual cool techniques and tricks and stuff that he's used to get things working and that sort of thing. And then he'll be on the Google Hangout or Skype or whatever it is we end up using. So we'll have the ability to just ask questions and kind of change the flow of whatever we're talking about as we go along with that. yeah, we'll meet and have a normal meeting first, or whatever. I'll try to like arrange to have him come in at 5 or something like that. Yeah, that way we'll have time to discuss whatever we need to discuss, and then move on to the cool stuff. So yeah, that's the 28th. Back to my notes. Okay, next thing up in terms of our calendar is GDC, which is March 2nd. As I mentioned last semester, we have a little bit of funding to help us a few of us, get to GDC in terms of just like travel and arrangements and that sort of thing. Taylor and I managed to hop in at like just the right minute of space and time where there were still available some discounted tickets to the Independent Games Summit, whatever it's called. The whole like independent developer thing that's happening the few days before GDC. So we're actually going to be there for that and doing like a volunteer like thing before that as part of our ticket cost for that. But so we've got tickets for that for the few days before actual GDC, and then all the rest of you we can figure out like if you just want to come up with us at the same time, or if we want to just all ride together, get a bus, whatever we want to, however we want to travel, we'll arrange the travel from that. But then we'll be there for
A tour bus.
I was thinking like, what do they call it, like Megabus or whatever? That's like $2 or something that you drive all the way up there on this sketchy ass little rickety.
We get our own bus.
We've also got cars, and there's only going to be a few of us, so realistically we should be able to manage with just 1 or 2 cars driving up there. Because again, I've only got the funding to support maybe like a car or 2 heading up there, then plus maybe the hotel, like a hotel room or 2. And between travel and 2 hotel rooms, I think it's probably about the maximum we're going to get out of the funding. We are also an official club now, so we have a little bit of funding from that. I might be able to put that towards ticket costs for the few of us who are going. But yeah, so that'll be the first week of March, and obviously there won't be a meeting that week, but we'll talk about that, before. Or I mean, you guys can host a meeting if you want. I don't care. I'm not going to be here. So yeah, so. If you're wanting, like if you're one of the people that I know, Rodrigo, you wanted to go, y'all are potentially interested. Pretty sure, okay. We'll have to figure out exactly who's going and that sort of thing, and then figure out rides. Because me and Taylor already have a hotel room. I'm trying to find out if it's cool with them. Like, I don't know if it matters if somebody else is in our hotel room. Like, if we just all go up at once and kind of like have a couple extra people in the hotel room, do they really care at all? Does it make any difference whatsoever? So we'll have to ask about that once I hear some more concrete information. We're staying in like a Holiday Inn somewhere, I think they said that's where we are, but we don't know any more specifics beyond that. So as more information is available, we'll figure that out. If you haven't gotten your tickets already, the discounted tickets are over like this week. So if you're really like serious about going to GDC, get your damn tickets. They're cheap now, not so cheap later. And regular passes or whatever you want to do is fine. I don't care. So yeah. Yeah, so GDC, that'd be cool. Hopefully, a few of us can go. Yeah. For everybody else, we'll come back with all kind of like good souvenirs and cool things, or something. I'll have business cards maybe to pass out. I don't know. We'll have cool information, and our games will be presented to people. We can be like, hey, look at all this cool stuff all of these people made, and we'll throw your names around because you're all awesome. And after that, the next thing on my schedule of events is simply May 5th, which is the deadline for Indiecade submissions. So if we're actually looking to submit for Indiecade, which I know 08 is looking at it at least. I don't know if Coffee Cute is or not. Do you know? Don't know. Okay. Yeah, so that's probably the most complete game we have right now, so hopefully Quinn will be interested in doing that sort of thing with that, because I think that's a really cool project to do that with anyway, so that would be great if we can. But yeah, so like early May, I think it's the 5th. It's that like within a day or 2 of the 5th, if it's not the 5th itself. Anyway, that's the Indiecade submissions, and that's the kind of date we'll be targeting our stuff around in terms of getting everything kind of completed and wrapped up by then. So everything needs to be 100% and golden by then. We can still do some work after that to like make things work better, but we want to like submit the best thing we possibly freaking can. So let's get that get that done as much as possible. So yeah, that's the schedule of events for the semester. those are the few things that we've got on the calendar. Anybody else have anything else that we were needing or planning to do or whatever? Any questions on the calendar stuff, any of that sort of thing? No. Okay. Next order of business. It's pretty much just kind of discussing what we're going to be doing. So I talked to Trevor about Sorting Master, and he's looking like he's going to take that and kind of do his own thing with it, assuming everybody that's worked on it is okay with it. I don't know, has he contacted anybody other than myself, or has he contacted anybody about that? Okay. Yeah, so... Okay. So, I don't know if he's actually going to do it, but I know, we had a conversation about it, so he seemed he might be doing that. So, either way, so that might be happening for the alums and people who aren't able to come to the meetings and that sort of stuff, so he's going to take that. Basically, that just means we're not really going to be working on Sorting Master. Sorting Master is behind us, and into their hands, they'll deal with Sorting Master. They'll do their own thing. We are going to be doing 0-8. So we're going to have stuff with 0-8. This is obviously all out of date at this point. I'm going to revamp the whole Trello thing and just kind of...
Maybe not toss this stuff out, but archive it and start pretty much fresh.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the tabs that we have currently that... I'll probably just take all the tabs that we have currently and just make a whole new set of them and just put a pile on the left-hand side that's archived crap or something. I'll probably literally name it that. And then, so with that, since I'm in charge of it and I need to actually do work and stuff with this, I came up with a brief, kind of vague schedule for it. So this is very loose. I wanted to keep it loose enough that we were able to kind of flow in and out of it as we need. I don't want to set specific dates on this, everything on this ship has to be done by this day, because we may not necessarily need to do anything. I wanted to have a discussion before we actually plan anything too concrete, but I did kind of put some of the specifics there. So the January 25th, I don't have anything, or January 15th, which is today, nothing is due, obviously, because we haven't been here. It's the first meeting. Next week, again, nothing is due, because it's way forward. We're busy. We're not going to be here. The week after that, though, I want to start having stuff due. So I want to kind of redo the VizDev in terms of changing the colors on 0-8 and getting everything kind of a little bit more coherent looking visually. The general look of the game is going to stay what it is for now, at least, just because it's simple and easy for us to roll out and kind of make and work with. But the colors for sure need to get changed, which I can kind of manage on my own. It's fairly simple. I need to just kind of compile all the texture work into one file and make it simpler to work with, and it'll be easier to draw up in code because it'll all be on one file. The level itself is non-concrete at the moment because we just need to playtest the crap out of that level and figure out exactly what shape we need, because I've changed the shape a couple of times over and over and over and over and over again, and it's never quite worked. I've got a kind of a discus shape at this point on the level that I've got on my computer.
I felt like my main complaint with the most recent version was too small.
Yeah. So I kept the vertical height the same, but I put the horizontal height out to what it used to be.
Okay.
So it's kind of a flatter disc, and
that makes sense.
It seems to feel better. It seems to feel really good to me playing it, just goofing around.
Cool.
We'll need to do playtests, obviously, but so that sort of thing. I will need, I guess maybe, Jin, you can help out with this. I will need somebody to kind of go in and do some VizDev for that, just kind of figure out what the level needs to look like. Because what we've got or what I had before was kind of crappy. It was okay, it was just kind of crappy. I can pull that up, seeing as you're not going to be familiar with it. Yeah, so this was kind of my progression from, so I started off with a crappy little a mock-up like this, and then just kind of, made that basically happen. Hi, what are you doing here?
You guys are valued by MK since they let me go early.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Jeez. Well.
Well, mostly we're potentially recruiting next, but...
Oh. Nice. Get out of here, you damn vultures. Okay, so this is kind of the level that we've got in place now. I've closed off the little brightly highlighted areas have been closed, and it was such a hodgepodge, and we tweaked over and over and over and over and over again. So this is no longer the way the level looks at all. We changed the colors on it too as well. But
it's the same sort of saturated
Yeah, I mean
flat textures.
we've got here on the Trello a link to the Pinterest board, with all the Style Bible stuff. So this is kind of the general look we're going for with the game. The shaders and stuff are going to stick to what we've got for this. You know, it's staying with a little cartoony sort of look to it, but just kind of this is the general vibe, if that makes sense. So we can discuss specifics, and I can kind of point you in the right directions and answer questions, that sort of thing, as we go along. But I need some kind of concept work for the level itself, and then like maybe Jessica can help out with that as well, seeing if she's more familiar with it. But seeing as she's not here, I can't ask her. So yeah, just need something for the visual look of the level, but we'll just gray box it for now until we find something that feels right, I think, honestly. So the concept would be more of just kind of getting the idea, kind of a vague. Yeah, we can show you all of that as well. Well, I haven't plugged it up. I haven't plugged up my hard drive just yet, so I can't. I'm not going to bother for the moment. Let's just get the talking out of the way, and then we'll figure that out after that. So, yeah, like I said, that is the job that needs to get done, just a little bit of 2D concept art, and we'll kind of revamp the colors and that sort of thing. So I want to have some vague idea of that kind of in place for January 29th, I guess that is. That's the day that Akash the car is going to come in, we're going to give the talk. So that's kind of the first deadline for the visuals. And that's really simple stuff. Like it's really easy to manage something as that. Like, it would just be like one piece of concept art, if that, at the time. The color change I definitely want to have in place, but that'll be my gig. That's gonna be fairly easy. Programming, I want to try to have the second shot type done by then. So that's gonna be your homework for the 2 weeks. Figure out just a second shot type.
Will do.
My thoughts so far has just been kind of like on a sine wave, kind of like what I mentioned that one time, I think. And
yeah.
Maybe that could be cool. I don't know if that'll work.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be interesting. Taylor, since you're here,
Yeah.
did you have a design for a second weapon kind of done at all? Or like ideas or whatever?
Yes.
Specifics?
I guess I have to load them in my brain.
Swap out the floppy drive, let the 2 megahertz processor go a little minute.
It's one of the ones that's like actually floppy.
Yes. No, I know. Trust me.
I was just specifying because some people think diskettes.
No. Actual floppy. I know you. Diskettes
Actually,
are far
I'm
too.
on a punch card. I'll get back to you.
Okay. But so we can kind of discuss. But that's the programming homework. I figure that's 2 weeks. It's plenty of time for something as simple as that. If it's not 100%, like if we're not happy with what it ends up being, that's fine. Just have something there, like have a secondary weapon, have some other kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to be doing. And after that, we'll do like maybe the charge shot 1 week, and then like the shield the next week, or that sort of thing. We'll kind of we'll figure out an exact list of, just don't do it on Trello. An exact list of what needs to be done in terms of the programming, and then we'll kind of give you like a week for each thing. Same thing with the visuals. Any kind of visuals that need to get changed or tweaked or whatever. Like I know the GUI all needs work, which Teo is not here, but the GUI needs to kind of be finalized and that sort of thing. I want to have that by February 12th. Sound temp, which I've mentioned to YouTube. Just something in place by the 5th to kind of give us a vague idea of what the general overall is going to be, so we know, like, yes, you're moving in the right direction, no, you're not.
Right.
That sort of stuff. Have something to show by the 5th, and I'm happy.
Okay.
Earlier than that, I'm happier. I know you've been working on it, so. Yeah. Effects animation, I want to have an actual, like, jet stream behind the things. I'm throwing out the little shots that we've got so far because they were literally just like, I don't have anything better to put in place. Here's 30 seconds worth of work. Click, 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 done. Here's my shot. Here's my bullets.
Well, they'll work as stand-ins for now, but obviously, they need to work.
Yeah. So I'm going to be taking that, or I don't know if somebody else wants to jump in on the effects animation. But, so effects animation, I'll have that by, February 15th, 19th, something in that area. 19th, I guess. And then, like, I want to, by the end of February, I want to have a full, like, menu mock-up with the sounds and everything else kind of in place. So that'll be for you guys and for Teo and for anybody, for coding as well.
Yeah.
Have some kind of, like, generalized menu so we know, like, these are the menu options that we have. So, like, play game, choose characters. Even if we don't have characters to choose, just have, have something kind of thrown together. The options for, like, video and audio editing and that sort of, all those little, like, general options stuff.
Right.
And obviously, I'm not expecting a whole lot in terms of complicated side of things.
Right.
Just have the functionality there. Like, we want people to be able to change the resolution. We want people to be able to change the volume of sound, that sort of stuff. The control, the controls, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's a mock-up by the end of February, so it doesn't necessarily have to be 100% there. It's just kind of something like a shell of it in place, so that we know that once we do get to the point where we're specifically adding in everything, putting in everything into place, we have somewhere to put it. So a shell is fine, just so long as we have.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then that's kind of the end of the specific, or the only specifics that I've got, and as vague as those are the only specifics that I've put into place for now. Because again, I want to be able to discuss. But by April 1st, I want to have the game in a playable form, as if it were of submission, like as if we were ready. I want to have the sound done, the visuals done, the programming done, to the extent that the programming can be done before the game is actually shippable. I want to have everything pushed as much as possible into the final state that it's going to be in. And then that'll give us all of April for the character animators to be dead, and then for everybody else to just kind of like be pushing as much as possible. And then by May, by May 1st, I want just everything is done. Everything is done. That way we have a couple of days to submit, to get builds put into place and that sort of stuff, to submit and get everything ready so we can throw it out there in the world. That's kind of my generalized schedule for now. Does that work for people?
That seems sensible to me. Yeah.
I have a suggestion.
Sure.
I feel like we should do testing before.
No, okay. That was actually one thing did I have that written later on the... We're going to be doing some playtest stuff.
We need to be testing at all stages.
That is the last thing that I've got written on my things to talk about today. So I'm just going to bring it up now. We're going to be recruiting as per suggestions. That you that suggested that?
It might have been me, might have been
somebody suggested that we bring in people from outside of the group to playtest as often as we possibly can. And yes, we need that. So, like, for specifics, once Coffee Cutie has like the book in place, we can have people come in and be like, "How is this game working to you now that that everything is self-contained?" Same thing with Zero Weight. We can basically do that right now with Zero Weight. It's not amazing, but we have something to show.
To have people with a fresh perspective just see your game and just see it for what it is, rather than like this product of what you've been working on this entire time, would be really valuable.
And that's going to apply for everything that we do this entire semester. If you have friends that ever say, "Hey, what are you working on?" Tell them, "Come see this meeting at Thursday at 4 o'clock. Come join us and play our stuff that we've been working on." And I don't care if it's not scheduled, I don't care if it's not official, I don't care. Bring people in as often as you want. Have them play things. If we have a pile of 50 people one day, oh well, we'll deal with it.
I feel that that's a too high pressure environment for testing, because I don't think that they would say that, "Oh, it's going to be super boring" or something.
That's true. That might be true. I still want to do it in that environment. But yeah, you may have a point. So maybe we can do some outside testing as well. Well, we should really be trying to get builds available and for people to play, kind of, because I've been asked by several people in the group for like various builds of whatever it is at different times. So, we should try to keep builds up and available for everyone, like Unity builds, on the Trello, so that people have access to and can show off, like be like, "Hey, this is the thing I've been working on. Don't you think it's cool?" Stuff like that. So we should try to keep up with that stuff now that we have, we've built all these games before. So now we can just keep iterating new versions of. We can put little version numbers on the side or something. I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, we'll try to make that available for people to playtest as much as possible. And if anybody says they're interested in doing so, please invite them here, show them whatever, whatever. Like, let's make as many people play these things as possible. Yeah. So that's kind of my schedule for 08. I said, Sorting Master is not really going to be a thing that we're going to be doing.
I guess we're not expecting Quinn or Jessica, so...
Yeah, I guess not today for sure. I'll contact them and make sure that...
Jessica I've met, or is it different?
Jessica Morrison? She was in my year. I would think you've met her, but I don't
I
know.
think I have.
But,
I remember I was with Cruz, and I'm still with Cruz.
yeah, so I'm not sure exactly, but she's around and she's involved in this fairly heavily. But since they're not here, we can't really talk much about Coffee Cutie. I assume that that's going to continue production.
Yeah.
There's some refining I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, it was looking really good. I assume she hasn't told you otherwise, right? Yeah. So.
But yeah, I'll tell her later that Bruce is going to jump in and cover.
Yeah. So. Cool. Hopefully we can get in touch with them and they'll be just here next week. They might be at the Imagineering, or Quinn might be at the Imagineering thing. Jessica, I don't know where she is. Possible. I mean, it's the first week. She's not on campus. What is so totally understandable. I messaged her. She may just be busy. We'll see. But we'll get word back from them and figure that out. Leggy Larry, I don't know no one here was so much working on that much. We had you and that's pretty much it, really. So, have you found anybody else that wants to work on that as you continue along, or?
It's not. I've nothing done over the winter break.
Okay.
I've done anything this week. I was getting my classes organized.
Sure.
I don't know how much more if I have time to do extra levels and stuff based on what we're getting back. So far, just normal stuff is just kind of getting in the way and everything. It'd be better for mix of platforming with a normal environment in a way, just the sandbox mode.
Yeah.
It's kind of more fun to play in your house. So.
Yeah. So okay. Well, as you go forward, whatever, if you can recruit more artists and more people to help you out with that, great, by all means. It'll just kind of be a side thing. We can work on it or not as we go along. I guess you're more than welcome to do with it as you will at this point. I think.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think 08 and Coffee Getting are going to be our big projects for the semester. We'll try to get both of those done for Indicate or whatever. And if we can manage, if you want to manage something with Leggy Larry to get that showable there, by all means, that's your deal. Manage that as you will. So.
When is Indicate? You probably said it.
Indicate itself is in October.
Oh.
Indicate submissions are in May.
Oh, you don't say.
Open in February.
They open in February, but there's no freaking way. So they're due by the beginning of May. That is the final cutoff. Oh yeah. You wanna get 08 ready by next month? Yeah. Huh?
You got 2 weeks still.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah. So that's pretty much the rundown on the 4 projects that we've got. So for I guess we have a new programmer here. I guess.
I know you.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, my name's Giorgio. Hi, everybody.
So we have a new programmer here.
And he's working on some of his own ideas, so at
Okay.
some point he might be artists.
Okay. Yeah. I make no guarantees simply because it's spring semester and God help us all. But yeah, if you want to ask around or just post on the Facebook page or however you want to, I'm more than welcome. You're more than welcome to recruit from us as much as possible. You're welcome to join in any projects that any of these guys will allow you to join in on, and jump in wherever you can, however it needs to work. My next order of business, as mentioned, I'd like to. I keep getting asked. I'd like to get Robo Boogie online. If that's at all.
Oh,
possible.
yeah.
So we can, I don't know, just we needed to kind of set the resolution, I think, in some way that would allow it to be played on other devices.
Okay. I'm basically
As
going to have to
resolution.
rework the GUI stuff then because
Is
it
that the deal?
was super hacked and like hard cut it to that resolution. So you didn't have time to make it look good.
If nothing else, just set it to do the same kind of thing, but just set it to a specific smaller resolution that can play on a web page.
Yes. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And then just put that up there somewhere and just be like,
Yeah.
here you go.
Yeah.
And I mean, so long as we can just put it somewhere on like Itch or something. I mean, whatever. Like I can host it on my own website or something. However we want to manage. I'd like to get something up online to
Yeah, that'd
show
be
people.
cool.
And
Is
the
that?
thing, so it's not so like confusing to play now, or is it gonna put up as it is?
That's the other thing. The indicators of the tie. So we just need to put like a text like tie. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I think we have a graphic for, right?
We might.
Didn't manage to get put into place in the last minute.
Check it.
So yeah, I think it was because I know there was 2 tweaks that we needed to make. So I think those were the 2. Just like set it to some resolution that's playable and kind of
Yeah.
put the text in there. So I'd like if that's possible to get that up at some point. Yeah, just like kind of a thing I'd like to do if possible. So yeah,
Yeah.
and if it's like a ton of work, by all means, please just don't.
Okay.
That project wasn't worth that much. But, you know, if it's like a relatively simple, like, yeah, let's just slam this into this resolution and put another button on it.
It should be relatively simple.
Yeah, so play with that, if at all possible.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Okay. So that's most of it. The only other thing that I have is the tutorial stuff that I'd mentioned on the Facebook page. I'd like to start kind of doing tutorials and showing people how to work with stuff. Get everybody a little bit more literate in terms of Unity and how that program works and how everything is functional. Like we can discuss, you know, like sound design with Akash. It's going to be a cool thing. We can all kind of sit in and listen to how he works with sound and how that sort of stuff happens, and you know, and we can kind of treat all the rest of these the same sort of way, like talking about how to import graphics into Unity, talking about what kind of graphics need to be imported, talking about how to get animation into Unity, talking about how to do like shading in Unity and that sort of stuff, or just like, what is Unity? I don't know how to do Unity. You know, like any kind of questions basically. We take some time, you know, take 30 minutes out of every meeting or something. I don't know, just like take a little bit of time and show people a little bit of the basics. Do anybody have any kind of like specifics for that? I've mentioned on Facebook too.
The tutorials?
Yeah, like
Procedural substances in Unity and how to make levels and things look good is something that, I mean, I don't know very much, but it's something I struggle with a lot.
okay. Teo would be the one that would know any kind of procedural textures, like built-in Unity textures. All of our stuff has been kind of just Photoshop textures, and you just bring in the file with the asset, and ta-da, you know. So yeah, Teo would be the one that will know that, but I know for sure he's worked with at least a little bit of kind of shader stuff. I've done a tiny little minuscule like playing around with that sort of thing, but not enough to do any kind of talk. So yeah, talk to him. Hopefully he can manage something. Anybody else? Any other specific questions? Like tutorials you'd like to see? Anybody? Come on. Thoughts? I hate all of them.
I have questions, but I think you're more like just continue what I'm doing.
Okay. And we'll go through a lot of, because I know that we're so heavy on artists. Well, I mean, I guess we're getting better on the programmers. We have a lot of y'all, so yeah, 4 of you, I guess now, possibly 5 if the other guy ever shows up again. He was here like once. Yeah. So yeah, I know like with the artist side of things, there's enough of us that it's something that we will want to cover, like in terms of what can be imported into Unity and how it works. We have 4 games as examples, so we can kind of show to all the everybody else who wasn't directly involved in that sort of thing how it all worked. You know, how we slammed Robo Boogie together in the 48 hours. You know, how all of those graphics, because I've got I don't know if I've got it on here, but it's a pretty Photoshop file. Oh, it is. I've got a gorgeous Photoshop file in here I can show. It's fun. I think it's that one.
Oh, is it all of the graphics?
It is everything ever all in one.
with everything on different layers. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, that's actually the largest file, so let's assume it's that one. Let it load up for a second, but it's a nightmare and a half. But it's basically just, you know, I commissioned Alex and Martina to come in and just draw these robots, and you know, I asked them to do all the different poses and all the different like things that these robots would do, and you know, that's all the artwork, right? That's all you think that you need to do, right? You have the assets, and now you're okay, right? Yeah. So, okay, this looks like it's just the sprite sheets. Let's just make everything visible. Okay. So this is just the sprite sheets of everything that I had to composite all those files into. I'm gonna guess it's the GUI logo then?
It's probably just gonna be the logo.
No, because it's like a 12 megabyte file. Yep, there we go. So this has the entire game. Everything. It has every pose. It has everything.
In fact, could we potentially play
Yes.
the game by making some kind of script to go through layers?
Yes. Yes, you could.
Yes.
Watch. The background is playing right now.
If there's any way to script for Photoshop, I'm sure you could
Yeah.
do it in that.
Yeah, you could. You could totally just like set it to do the right. Yeah. Like absolutely. It would massacre your computer, but it would be hilarious to watch. So this is everything kind of thrown into place in Photoshop. And kind of what we did to make this work is just turn off all the layers that weren't immediately relevant. So like, and I would do that and then save this image out as 1920 by 1080 and just throw it at Ness, and they would manage to just put that into place.
Which is terrible practice.
Which is
by
a
the way.
terrible practice. Never, ever, ever do that. Never.
Especially because, like, basically it wasn't even rendering it at that resolution because of the way that Unity imports textures. It has to A be square and B be a power of 2 in each dimension. So
Yep.
it was changing it to a 4096 by 4096 resolution and then stretching it out.
And why did we decide to do this? Like,
Because it was.
Because we ran out of time.
Yeah, we ran out of time
In 48
to like
hours.
properly
We
script
get
all
it.
of the different animation movements. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we had everything actually for a while there. We had everything all in individual sprites. Like we had the individual files for all these things kind of saved out individually so that you could load up the 768. I think the sprite we ended up using.
Right. Well, I think that we did different parts of it and
Yeah.
different methods, and it was
Yeah.
all really hacked together.
It was a hack job from beginning to end, and
Yeah.
it just we realized eventually that it just got worse and worse as we went along. We were like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I remember the moment where I turned to Nez and was like, hey, what if I just save this as a 1920 by 1080? Perfect! Okay, go! So that was literally what we ended up doing. Terrible, 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 terrible practice.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I should open one of these folders and actually show. Oh, hi Walter. Or do I not have? Oh, I guess I don't have the... This isn't everything ever.
It doesn't have Jackson Mark V.
It doesn't have all the poses in it. I thought this was... Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it has Jackson in there. It has him in there, it's just it doesn't have his full pose set. Okay, so this isn't the crazy file. I don't know which one is. I'm not going to find out. But, yeah. So that's our hacked together bullshit job for Robo-Boogie. Obviously, like 08 and stuff is significantly less hacked together, and, you know, Sorting Master, obviously kind of the same. We had some more time on these other projects, but you can bullshit a lot. So we did. And yeah, we can kind of, that's the whole idea. We can go through stuff like this and kind of show what we've done already. Like, we've made all these games, they're playable, you've all played them. So we can kind of show off what we've made. And be like, yeah, isn't this cool? You know? Let's see if I've got any of them.
And then on your hard drive.
Yeah, without actually loading up my my external Unity projects. Ooh, I do.
Do you want to talk about Lux at all?
We can. It's more of like a you and me thing, I think, at this point. Nobody else is really
Bruce is
helping
good.
me. Cool. That'd be great.
Okay, well, I guess let's just talk about that.
After the right after the meeting,
Yeah.
we'll close. I mean, we're not going to be a whole lot longer, so we'll just kind of discuss. Yeah. I don't know what version of the game this is. Oh, it's the most recent version. How the f did that happen? Okay. So Jen, this is 0-8. This is the game I was talking about.
Okay, I see the sort of oblong shape.
Yeah.
On here.
It works better because it seems it gives you a fair amount of distance you can go back while still allowing,
Yeah.
you have a decent, like I'm playing this with a touchpad right now and I'm able to actually hit this person. So you have a decent bit of like range or like aim ability at this size without it getting too small. Still a little awkward, but yeah. So yeah. So anyway, that was 0-8. That was the crappiest presentation of it ever. But it's that sort of shooter kind of thing.
Usually, what is it that we want to keep? What is it we also change?
Okay. The ships are staying the same. Like, the ships are pretty much what they are. But the background is all just going to get tossed out. Because I'm not sure of exactly the shape that we're going to end up with. I'm thinking the sort of discus shape is going to be kind of the direction to go. So kind of think within a discus. The idea of the game is a space shooter, like arena 360-degree boxing match, which I still get the weirdest damn looks whenever I tell anybody about this. It's just going to be your inside of. So this is just kind of the arena you live within. So I want it to be kind of sportsy looking and that sort of thing.
It is like in the game lore
Yeah.
as like entertainment basically. Like
Right.
you're-
It's supposed to be a ring. It's supposed to be like a boxing ring. Like this is a place you go to specifically to play this game, as it were, like to experience this sport, I guess is a more accurate way of saying it.
Yeah.
And then, like I'd mentioned earlier, I've got kind of a style Bible that just kind of gives you the direction that I'm going in. None of this is specifically in that sort of flat, cel-shaded style that I've got, but at the same time, you get kind of an idea. That's the sort of environment kind of stuff, like the line work and that sort of thing that we're looking at. Yeah. And then the concept art can honestly be however you want to manage it, and then we'll figure out the specifics on how to make it into a 3D thing. So like do what you like on concept, and then we'll sort things out. I just need ideas in terms of what to make it look like, because I've got nothing at the moment. And then, yeah. And then, like I said, sweet. Yeah. So, but we can kind of keep in touch and discuss specific details as we go along, as you go forward. And we've got a couple of weeks before I even want anything thrown together. So, yeah, we can discuss. But yeah, so like we can kind of back to the tutorial thing, and just like kind of how to use Unity or whatever. We can kind of just take some time during a meeting and go through, what is all this crap? Like I've got a full screen worth of buttons and knobs and who-dads and what's-its and no-duties thingies and yeah, what are all these things? I'm sure half the people in this room, well, maybe less than half the people in this room. There's at least a few people here that have no idea what we're looking at right now. I'm sure of that. So we can explain and talk about and discuss and like figure out.
I have no idea.
See, okay, one person at least doesn't know. But that within our group, there's several people who they either don't know anything about Unity or they know a little, they know a spattering here and there, and like even my knowledge is not very complete at all. At all. So we can kind of like learn from each other and kind of take the time, rather than just strictly working and just strictly discussing, crunching a month worth of game dev and killing ourselves to make something happen that quickly. We can take a breath discuss what we've learned and our processes involved, things like that. So we can kind of go through and just discuss the general UI of Unity, how things work, where the buttons are, like how to import a ship, what kind of models do we need to work within Unity, like how things need to be set up to get them in here, what the texture needs to look like. Not that you can see those textures because they're 16 by 16 pixels, and
That's right, yeah.
that doesn't do,
But that is good practice.
Yes, that is good practice. We do a couple of things right occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we can discuss like just techniques and thoughts, and if there are other people who outside, because I've gotten several questions of how to make a game.
You got things to do.
Okay, see you later. Yep.
Will I have a chance to play this game before I start doing, or is it playable?
Yeah, that's what I was just playing it just now. If I had the controllers on me, we could actually play.
Well, this weekend,
Yeah.
what do you-
Yeah, I'm in Woodglen,
Okay,
so
I know what the objective is.
Sure.
Because backgrounds can definitely support or distract from
yeah. Yeah, so we can, like I said, we can discuss specifics on that and kind of get things going and make sure you're up to date on what we're working on, that sort of thing. But yeah, so I guess since nobody thought of anything today, if anything comes up that like, hey, I want to know how to do that, let us know and we'll find someone in the group. Somebody's bound to know something. Teo, more than likely, more than any of the rest of us, I'm sure. You've been working on this damn thing since, what, 7 years ago, whenever, Unity was released, as far as I'm aware, about that time, and somehow Teo's managed to be using it for the entirety of that duration. So surely he knows how to do a little bit of whatever it is you need to know about Unity, and he'll be a great boon. But, I've made a game, Taylor's worked on games, Ness has made games, Rodrigo's made games. A lot of us have made games. We've, have at least a basic working knowledge of some of the systems. We can kind of point out, this is how this works, this is how this works. And yeah.
In fact, I recently learned cool things like how to make your own custom dockable panel in the editor. Like the inspector is just a separate thing with all the tools you want in it.
Oh,
You can
nice.
add menu items to the menus at the top.
Cool.
Everything.
Cool.
Apparently Unity was built in Unity.
So
So you can actually edit it with scripts.
Oh,
in your
nice.
Unity folder.
Cool. That is
And use
really
the,
good to know.
Use the same GUI elements that you can use in your games.
nice. And stuff like that, as people like Taylor, who has a job now, use Unity in a professional environment, will be able to
That's
draw
what
from
I said,
that.
like, yes.
Well, yes, but, So, we'll answer questions, or if nobody has questions, we'll shove knowledge down your collective throats, damn it. So, yeah. I think that's all I've got. I think that's all I have to say. Yep. I've gone through every one of my little check boxes.
they're probably gonna head out.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, anybody have any questions? Is there any ambiguity as to what's happening in the near future?
As we start to delve into Coffee Cutie, I'm wondering if we can look at I guess how to, what am I trying to say? Form of working I guess process between myself and the programming, because I feel like there was some miscommunication where you were left to make some choices, and I feel like I could probably be I mean it's my own fault because I don't feel like I was as active as I could have been in sound designing Coffee Cutie that first semester.
What we can do for that sort of thing is just kind of walk everyone through the whole process of, okay, we have a sound file over here, and we want it to be here. How do we get from A to B?
That.
Yeah. The thing that happened was that I was crunching to finish it.
Yeah, that's what I figured, which
and
is totally
I
cool.
already know how to do some sound design, so
You felt like you had to make some choices.
Working, and instead of contacting you and waiting for you to
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Yes.
I totally get it's not a big deal. I just feel like it's on me to be more active about making choices and figure out. And I feel like there's a way, like I downloaded Unity over the break, so maybe there's a way to give me like a playable version so I can play through it and say, oh, maybe sounds here.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's a lesson we can learn across the board is that we need to give everybody working on the game like the newest version.
The newest version. We need to make sure that we have builds.
So people can sort of see how their content that they're creating is figuring in everything and like whether they feel like they need to change something on their end that maybe somebody else might not notice.
So I want.
Yeah. So I guess maybe me or Bruce or both of us or somebody could do a tutorial on using Git version control
That'd be good.
to just always have the most up to date versions of everything.
Yeah.
Because that would be if not the easiest, the most efficient and error-free way to distribute it.
There's some way of using Git with a GUI, right?
Yes, and that's probably what I will do for all the non-programmers.
Yeah.
That would be good.
So I don't expect you to get onto the command line and
Yeah, I would rather not.
yeah.
It's so much fun.
Huh?
It's so much fun.
No way. You can do that all
I
you
don't
want.
use Finder anymore. I only use terminals. So
Yeah.
Whew. Oh boy.
Git unit or the Git GUIs.
I mean, there's opinions
I know. But
about GUI Git stuff, but it's fine. It's
So long as
what you
it's
want.
functional,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I'm okay. You know, we can manage. I think we're all competent enough to kind of manage if we're instructed properly. So
Right.
yeah.
and it's the sort of thing where it's like you're not going to be editing any text really, so it's like
Yeah, just pulling.
is pretty much going to be just pulling and
Committing
maybe committing images. But we might even try to figure out another
Yeah.
non-Git way to take care of data assets because Git is a terrible way to manage like image files and stuff because it tracks things based on changes and in a text file sort of situation. So if you change an image significantly, like all the bits are all different. So it's basically and it keeps a history of everything that's ever been in the repository. So if you delete something and commit that, it's not gone from like the data space in the repository. It's
Git isn't for men.
right.
So maybe that's something we can ask way forward when we're there next
That's a
week.
great idea.
Like, hey, what do you guys use?
Right.
How does that work?
Right.
So
There's another process between designers and programmers. 'Cause that's like the one thing I'm really confused about, like delving into this new like field is how do. Because I'm sure they're not always crammed in a room together. This sound goes here, like.
and we have hacked together this whole thing. All of
Yeah.
this, all of this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the most BS
No.
hack job like thing. We're
But
just
it
kind of like
works, it
cramming
works.
people into
So
a room together and making them be like,
it's
make
successful.
things. So
That's what CalArts is.
yeah, exactly.
You
So
know, it's not
like,
super-
we've made it work, but we definitely need some help.
I just well, I thought we're enough, especially since there are new sound designers on board. That way, we can all develop like a process.
Yeah. And
Great.
I think we should kind of do that for the art assets, do that for the sound, and just kind of do that for general Unity. Like, how does if I work on this thing, like Hannah modeled a ship or Taylor modeled a ship, like how did that ship that they made get from where they made it to like the finalized graphics that I put in just to kind of like change the textures and that sort of stuff to being actually in Unity to being a playable character in Unity, because all of those things are totally unrelated basically. So how do you set that sort of stuff up? And maybe it's stuff that nobody's ever going to use. Like, I don't imagine Gilly's ever going to need to know exactly like how to put a box collider on this spaceship, but seeing the process might help her understand, oh, this is how it's going to be used, so this is how I need to work with my thing.
I mean, especially
Yeah.
something like this, sound can be really visually inspired.
Right.
I find that true across the board in theater and video game design. I don't know how those film people work, but it's important to know all aspects.
Exactly,
All of
exactly.
us.
So we have some time this semester. Obviously we're all going to be working, but there's not going to be any work while we're here. So let's take the time that we're here and treat this kind of like a class, I guess, in a way, in a very loose sort of way. Take some time and just learn stuff, figure out how everybody else works, what we need, how we can interact with each other, and love each other better.
You don't have to love each other, you just have to work with each other.
Okay, work with each other better. You're all welcome to the visuals on that one. Except for you people online, I'm sorry you didn't get to see my face.
Nathan hugged his chair.
Passionately.
Nathan loves
Here is true. The Forest of 1,000 Suns, I like it. But yeah, so stuff like that we can kind of figure out. We can talk about game design. We can talk about level design. We can talk about stuff like that. I don't know, just narrative design in games, that sort of thing. Just whatever kind of things people are vague on, like maybe aren't really sure how something has worked or how it's approached or that sort of stuff. Let's just have discussions, and I'll force things down your throats, seeing as I'm sure no one's ever going to ask any questions. So.
Oh, also, fun thing. Starting this past Wednesday, Extra Credits, the YouTube show, has started a series sponsored by Unity on making your first game.
Oh!
Which we're a little ahead of where they are, but it's kind of fun to watch it and see how typical we are.
That's cool.
We're actually a little ahead.
I mean, I would assume.
I'm surprised at how ahead we actually seem to be.
Do you want more from your games? Do you want...
Extra Credits?
I recommend going through this entire backlog.
Yeah, Extra Credits is incredible. They've got some really good game design videos in here as well. You agree with some, you disagree with some. Some of it's just like, what are you thinking? But they at least know what they're talking about enough to make a coherent video. Generally.
The lead writer started the game design programs at DigiPen in Washington, New Seattle, which I think might be, I don't know, there aren't many master's programs in game design, but theirs is one of them.
Yeah, it's definitely the first and most important
Yeah.
game development school.
I don't see any. I don't see them with a video.
That very next one.
Is it? Oh crap! Okay. Wow.
First one, since it came out on Wednesday.
Yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Yesterday was
Okay.
Wednesday.
But yeah, Extra Credits is great. And
Cool.
I said at least in chunks, it's great. I've not gone through the whole backlog. I've seen some of their videos. I particularly like their purple videos. I forget what they're actually called.
Design stuff.
Yeah, it's their design-specific stuff because they go through and actually talk about
They're very,
game design.
they're
So-
very rare, but they'll go through the first level of Super Mario Brothers
Oh, sweet.
step by step and tell you everything that they're doing related to that.
Or this one here is the animation of Punch-Out. So it's just specifically how the animation I'm sure helped out rather than exactly how it was done.
Yeah, that one was fun because it was narrated by Dan as opposed to other Dan who usually does.
Or
three Dans.
Wait, really?
wow, really?
We have three Dans on their team now.
Jeez.
Is it Dan, other Dan, and other Dan?
I think it's Dan, other Dan, and then Dan and his last name.
Ah. But they had this video here that went fairly viral. I saw it linked a lot.
Oh, yeah.
The blue shell in Mario Kart. It kind of goes through and talks about exactly why the blue shell was necessary as an introduction, as something they added to the series in Mario Kart 64, and what it did to the game, how it changes things, why it's good for the game, why it persists the way it is, and then kind of how it's changed and why it's changed and that sort of
Even
stuff.
though everybody says they hate
Even though everybody says they hate it, he makes the point that yes, you hate it, it's crap, but it is absolutely essential to this gameplay. And after watching this video, I'm like, yeah, okay, I
It was
guess.
also very eliminating for me because until I watched that video, I didn't know what the horn item in the new game
Oh, really?
was.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Oh well, it's good
it
for
blocks
more than-
everything.
Yeah, it's good for more than just blue shells.
Yeah.
It'll knock
Red
everything
shells
that's
as well,
right around you.
I
Yeah.
still didn't know.
It'll screw up everybody that's hitting right next to you. That if you're just driving right next to a big pile of people, you can just honk and blow them all away.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool weapon. Yeah, so Extra Credits is awesome. Also, I guess I can mention this again. I've got it posted on... I'll just bring it up this way. We've got the whole resources and tutorials thing, which is all, stuff we found interesting from around the universe. And...
How can I get on this page?
This is our Trello. Are you in the Facebook group yet?
Yes, I'm in the Facebook group.
Okay. Then I don't know. Send me a message or something. We can set you up right after the meeting.
Cool.
Yeah. But so we have all of this, and this includes a bunch of different things. I've put out several links from my own Pinterest board for game design, in which I save every article that I read that is actually noteworthy and interesting in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of stuff about management and leadership and that sort of thing that I've been reading up on while I'm running you guys, because I'm trying to do a good job. Please help me, God. But there's also a lot of stuff like breakdowns of, say, Toto Temple Deluxe. They had a breakdown of. They talked about Half-Life story. There's a lot of stuff on narrative in here because I'm obsessed with narrative design and like how to tell a narrative in games and that sort of stuff.
So follow you on Pinterest?
Not necessarily. Just save this board. It might be of interest. I don't know. I don't know if this is actually worthy of anything to anybody else, but it's got a lot of interesting links to me. And there's a lot of, it ranges from everything. So there's the hugely conceptual stuff that talks about just the idea of how to game design. And then there's the very specific stuff like how to make Zelda's camera from Legend of Zelda Wind Waker in Unity. Specifically how to do that one thing. Or how the hitboxes worked in Toto Temple Deluxe. Exactly how to, So there's a huge range of stuff. Just every article that I find remotely interesting is in here. And there's also just images of, this is I think the water temple from Zelda. It's a really crappy version of the image. That's not the water temple, that is something else. It's a temple, whatever. I've got some level design stuff in here. There's the water temple. Yeah. But, so there's stuff like that tossed in here as well. And just everything. I've even got, what is this one here? Advice about queer characters in games, just stuff like how to open your horizons and think about other people that you may not usually think about, or whatever. I've got a little bit of everything. There's art stuff, there's everything. So there's a bunch of stuff in here. It's all, to me, really cool. You may or may not get as much enjoyment out of this, but it's here. It's available. It's linked somewhere on the, I think it's in here somewhere. Yeah, whatever. But, so there's stuff like that, and there's a ton of other Pinterest boards that have been followed by a bunch of people who also have game design pin boards, and Gama Sutra is an amazing website, that sort of stuff. So there's resources around stuff. Yeah. Questions, comments, concerns, whatever. Anything else? A bunch of blank looks from everyone giving me just Cool. Yeah, I mean, we'd be happy to see it. Next week we're going to Way Forward. Week after that, we'll be back in here. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's. We've covered all the little bullet points that I had to cover, and a few extras. So yeah, I guess that's all I've got. Nobody seems to have any questions. So. Go away now.
Bye.